Who's going to introduce the podcast?
You usually do it, so I was just waiting on you. Welcome to Two Better Halves, a podcast where me, Sarah.
Me.
You is who?
Lenton.
Both take 15 minutes to discuss the topic. We can do whatever we want during our 15 minutes. We can ask questions. We can monologue. We can do whatever we'd like. But then we also have to give the other half 15 minutes to talk about the topic however they would like.
Yep. So, for example, if the theme of that week was about pets, how would you spend your 15 minutes?
I would probably ask you questions about different kinds of pets. What kind of pet would you be? Those kinds of things.
So you'd be like a Facebook quiz?
Yes.
Like, what animal are you?
Yeah, and then at the end I would tell you what animal you are.
And I would ask really deep personal questions about your past that make you remember things and break your heart.
Okay, well, that's...
Not because I want to break your heart, it's because I want to create good podcasts.
Yeah, and you're just a deeper person.
I want to create good podcast moments. That's what I'm about. That's why 100% of things I say are lies, just to make me seem interesting, which is really bad because if you've listened to any of these episodes already, you know I do not sound interesting.
But 100% are lies.
100% of the things I say
that makes it easy.
On this podcast are lies.
Which means that's not a lie.
That means it's not a lie. That's what I was about to say, because someone somewhere is going to say it. I was hoping it wouldn't be you, but it was.
I thought you wanted to, force some conversation and dialogue.
That's Travis's paradox, right?
Who?
Isn't what that's called? Travis's paradox?
Who's Travis?
The guy who came up with Travis's paradox. That if you say everything I say is a lie, what does that mean?
I don't know. I'm still lost on who Travis is.
That's what they call that. Like Schrodinger's cat. It's Travis's paradox. We're living in Travis's paradox, man. Whoa.
Travis, man, he's something.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Pretty good. Have you settled into the new routine of things?
I think so a little bit, but that's actually problematic because this week is the last week that our older children will be in virtual school. After this, in theory, they're going back in person full time. Now, whether or not that's going to change, I don't know. But for now, at least, it's going to throw the whole schedule out of whack again.
I forgot about that. Yeah. I meant thinking, because I was thinking, hey, now that I've been back at work for 2 weeks, we sort of have our routine of I wake up and spend the first hour of the day taking care of the kid by myself so you can sleep and then start your work and everything. And then I get the kid and I take her and drive her to school while you're in bed. And then at night, when I have to work and I have to do stuff, you put her to bed because I got to work. That kind of routine that we have in now that I work. But then I forgot that next week it becomes even more different. Although I think it'll make it a little easier, yeah?
I don't know. I have to say the virtual school's been nice because getting them up and ready for school is going on the door and saying good morning and then going back 20 minutes later and saying, okay, log into first block.
But now you have to drive them?
Now I'm going to have to actually drive them. So that will be a little more difficult. I have to put on real people clothes since I'm going to go out of the house and everything.
You don't have to put on... Do you have to get out of the car?
No, but, we have a 14-year-old daughter, and I don't want to embarrass her.
Oh, gotcha. We do. Well,
don't want to be that mom with the curlers in her hair and the face mask still on.
Yeah, you do not wear curlers, and you do not wear face masks. Thank God, because those are ugly things.
Yes. So I don't wear them, and I won't wear them. Make my children see me.
Now I'm going to feel bad if somebody listening to this right now has a face mask or the curlers. They're not ugly things. They're just usually associated in TV shows and movies with like the ugly mom character, right? That's why you connected it to being an embarrassing mom.
Yes, that is correct.
That's just what it's connected to. But calling it ugly was wrong. I'm sorry.
Aw, so sweet.
Do you forgive me?
I do.
Is that my water bottle?
Are you apologizing to me?
Whew, scare me. I thought Sarah had my water bottle. We're about to have some problems. About to have the opposite of an apology.
You have like 7 water bottles.
I do have 7 water bottles because I drink a lot of water, and I don't like warm water or faucet temperature water. So I have to have them filled up and in the fridge because it takes 24 hours for them to get cold enough.
And that's fine, but don't be begrudging me my 1 water bottle.
No, if that would have been one of mine.
But I know, you have 7. Even if I had one of them, it'd be fine. You'd still have 6 more.
Yeah, but by the time I got through them tomorrow then, when I was ready for my last one, it wouldn't be the right temperature.
Well, it would be, because I would be filling it up as soon as we were done with this.
I know. I was just gonna help you remember to fill it up.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez, this is gonna be a bad episode if you're gonna keep being so mean.
You were accusing me of stealing with no grounds for it. No grounds.
That is half accurate. Half accurate. Hey, I got a question.
Okay.
How far back for you can you remember who you voted for president?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I would have to do the math. I know I voted for I voted for third party when...
All the times you and I were together right now.
Yeah.
I don't know about 2008.
Which presidential election would that be?
That would have been Obama Kerry or Obama Romney. I think Kerry was first.
No? Oh, then I
no,
don't.
no, not Kerry. What's his name? The little nerd who wasn't. Mitt
I don't know.
Romney.
I voted for Obama.
There was Mitt Romney, then the one who died, or not? Did he die? The one who
I don't know. I'm not sure what we're talking about.
The presidential candidate that Donald Trump made fun of because he got arrested when he was not arrested. He was imprisoned. John McCain. Yeah, John McCain was one of the Obamas because he was the guy who stood up for people when they were saying that Obama was a terrorist, and that was really cool. And it was like this cool headline that John McCain stood up for Obama, even though he was campaigning against him because those stupid people, the kind of people that now Trump would encourage, were saying Obama's a terrorist.
Yeah, I remember that. That was ridiculous.
Yep, those people have been here forever. They just now have a president who likes that kind of thing.
That's fair enough.
Yep. So can you remember?
I know I voted for Obama the first time.
First time, and the second time would have been third party, and then last time was third party. Okay, What about the Bushes? We have Al Gore, and then I think the second time is John Kerry. God, why do I have John Kerry in my head? That must have been it, right? Bush.
I especially the ones who didn't win, I don't really remember. I would be surprised if I had ever voted Republican back then.
Was John Kerry. Boom!
So my guess is that I either voted Democratic or third party.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
Bush, Al Gore, you probably would have voted. I mean, Al Gore won the popular vote, so maybe you were one of those. Maybe.
I could have been, but I definitely did not vote for Bush.
Why? What is all this? I definitely did not. No one's going to be mad at you if in 2000 you voted for George Bush.
I understand. I'm not worried about anybody being mad at me. I can't even remember, so clearly it's not that big of a deal to me.
It's just like just the one thing that you definitely...
Because I have become way more educated in politics now than I was before, and so...
You're welcome.
I would have blanketly voted... I would not have blanketly voted Republican at 18 or 22 or... whatever age I was during those earlier elections.
So you know for a fact that you've never voted Republican for the president?
Yes.
But after Obama, you don't remember any specifics of any other election?
Earlier than Obama, no.
Wow. That's not very exciting.
I'm sorry. I mean, part of it is just that I have a really bad memory.
Now, part of it is that you don't care about the president.
I care a lot more now than I used to.
You're welcome.
You're definitely a part of that.
That's my second. You're welcome. I think everybody probably cares more now than they used to.
I would agree.
And we need to stop because pro wrestling is having its worst TV ratings in so long, and news channels are having their best. And we need to start shifting our viewership from politics to wrestling, right, baby?
I guess so. Yes,
That's right.
I feel like us being educated is good, but I know you love your wrestling.
That's right. I do. All right. Ooh, my watch is making zibbity zabbities. This is the Two Better Halves podcast. In this podcast, a husband and wife take one topic, typically something that people butt heads over, and they're forced to sit down and respect each other enough to give them 15 minutes to talk it through and get everything they want to say out and control the conversation, mute people, make them sing, make them take their shirts off. I'm not even wearing my shirt right now. I am. They don't know that, though. For their full 15 minutes, then at the end, we're all done. If there's some really, really outstanding last question, we'll hit you up on social media, which is the Instagram and the Twitter. And you can follow me, Lenton, at TikTok and on Twitter at Lenton Lee's. It's spelled the way it sounds, but dumber. That's pretty funny. And today's topic is deal breakers. How to end a marriage in 30 days. Not in 30 days. How to end a marriage. And I am going to start my 15 minutes first.
Oh,
whenever
goodness.
you are ready.
You're assertive this time. All right. Go.
Go. Jeez, calm down. All right. So, first thing we're going to talk about is the fact you've already been married one time. And let's talk about, since you have a perfectly provable deal breaker, what your deal breaker has been in a marriage thus far. Tell the story as much as you're comfortable telling it, but if you lie, I'll have to call you out.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not so much that I'm comfortable telling it as I don't want it to last forever. You've only got 15 minutes. I'm not going to eat up all your time. That's not how I roll. So
wait, you don't want to tell it? If you don't want to tell it, I'm not going to make you.
That's not what I said at all.
Okay.
So it's cheesy. It sounds cheesy, but I would say communication was the biggest issue, and part of that was manifested as we never fought, which on paper sounds good initially, but in reality meant if I said something that I was having problems with, I didn't get any responses about acknowledging the fact that he agreed it was a problem, what he was going to do to change the problem. He just didn't say anything, and I took that to mean acceptance, I guess, and we moved on. And then from his perspective, I think rather than tell me what his problems were, he just held on to a lot of them and just assumed that either I was smart enough and would figure it out, or it didn't really matter. And so in either case, that's not leading to a lot of, this is the problem I need fixed. And then the other side of that is not feeling, so in terms of the communication, had the communication been better, this probably wouldn't have been an issue, but I felt like I wasn't getting what I needed in terms of the ways I want somebody to show me affection. I want to be told that I'm important. I want to be shown that I'm important. I want to be put first. And I felt like with him, his career was first and I was second. And for some people, that's fine. And as long as everyone's on the same page and they know that that's how that's going to be, that's wonderful. But for me, I felt like I never got all of the attention that I wanted. So communication / show me and love me, deal breakers.
So is there a single moment, like a thing that happened? I know the answer, but you know.
Maybe you know the answer.
Oh, okay. I mean, like a moment, a lot of people, like, what was the last straw before you decide you're not going to be married anymore? That's what people, I guess that's what I'm looking for. The last straw. Or the straw that broke the camel's back. What is it with straws and that being the... Well, that's interesting. Go ahead, the last straw.
I can tell you, I think, what are potentially the origins of both of those.
No, not in my 15 minutes. We ain't listening to that crap.
So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say this one incident is the thing that changed everything. I would say that because I didn't feel like I was getting the attention that I needed to feel supported, that I was a much more flirtatious person.
Ooh, you know what she's saying.
Because I wanted to get that attention.
Let's check this out, though, real quick. Did you ever cheat or have an affair?
No, I did not.
Thank you.
Okay. No, yeah, flirt, just, wanting to get the attention, talking to each other, that kind of thing. Nothing that was ever physical. And so most of the time that was enough and that was all I wanted. And I could flirt with somebody and not be interested in there being anything beyond that. It just made me feel good that they told me I was pretty or, whatever it was that just made me feel like I was important and the focus of attention for a little bit. But when I met you during the course of a play that we were both in, I started to realize that you were making me feel, you weren't just filling a little attention gap for me, but you were actually making me feel that I was seen and heard and important. And that was what made me realize that that gap is so big that there was not going to be anything I could do to fix it. I was not getting the attention that I needed, the listening to that I needed, the communication that I needed. And I realized at that point it was not something that could be not something that could be addressed by just small little patches, that it was a much bigger issue.
With all that said as to why it was a deal breaker for you, is there anything you think you could have done significantly better that would have saved it from needing to be last strawed?
It's really hard to say that because I felt from my perspective that I was communicating effectively what I needed and how I needed to be prioritized, and I felt like it wasn't heard. I'm sure, as is in most cases, that the perspective from the other side was that I maybe wasn't clear about what I wanted.
Yeah, but specifically after all this time, you don't look back on it and go, hey, I should have done that a lot better.
So the only thing that I can think is that had we worked with someone else, a third party in some way, whether that be a therapist or someone else who could help make sure that facilitated the communication for us, as opposed to me assuming that my talking to him about it was all that was needed.
And that wasn't even something you ever even suggested?
It wasn't, because at the time, and granted, I was also young. We got married. We got engaged when I was 19 and got married when I was 20. So I didn't really have a ton of experience with really serious relationships where you're having the heavier conversations. And so I didn't know what was normal and what to expect. And it certainly on paper sounded good that we didn't fight at all. And from my perspective, I was telling him everything I wanted and needed, and he was hearing it, and he was going to change it and fix it. And, from his perspective, maybe at some point he just shut down and stopped listening because it was, too much of me coming at him with the same thing. So I'm just saying he may not have... I thought he should have been hearing because I was verbally saying it. I wasn't assuming he was just reading my mind and understanding. But it's possible that how I was delivering, he wasn't hearing.
Yes, and considering how much we have argued, and we could do a whole episode about it, about therapy, and the fact that that wasn't something that during the time, that surprises me, that you didn't make that a serious thing, considering now you think that therapy is what everyone in the house should do if they have a serious problem. So that surprises me.
Yeah, and I think I've just learned a lot. At this point now, you and I have been together for 9 years, so
After seeing how much I don't have it together and how much of a failure I am, my wife finally started to believe in therapy.
No, I think...
Y'all heard it here. No, for my 15 minutes. That's exactly what you said. All right, so you and me, we don't have that issue. We don't have the issue that you already had a divorce about.
No, we do not.
At all.
No.
Okay. So what are the deal breakers that exist now? Now that we know what one of them is for you. Let's not put things on the table like taking one of your children, scalping them, wearing their face on my face, and throwing feces all over the house. I'm not going to kill the children. Realistically, something as likely as, hey, well, maybe not as likely as bad communication, but something in the vein. Something that wouldn't shock people to hear, we got a divorce because. If it sounds like something that wouldn't shock the majority of people... What realistically would is a deal breaker for you now?
Yeah, so...
And we could get a therapist to talk about it, too. So, go ahead.
That was a little bit of a condescending little jab there.
That's what happens in Lenton's magical 15 minutes. That's what happens in Trent's Paradox, baby.
Oh.
That's what it's
called. It was
Travis.
Travis.
Oh, shit. Travis. Well, I was thinking Travis Trent, the country singer, because that's where I saw the word Travis. So, you know what is Travis Trent's Paradox now? I'm going to see if there's a song called Travis Trent's Paradox. That'd be so good. Go ahead, continue.
I'm sorry, I don't remember the question now. We got lost in the paradox.
For us now, what are the deal breakers that are real, that would not shock people? I'm saying I don't need a list of, like, he raped something in the house. I'm not sure what it was, but I know he raped it.
Yeah,
or he started fucking a ghost.
Other than hurting me or the children physically, the two biggest things that I could think of are...
Two? Damn. Jesus.
The two biggest things that I could think of are if I started to feel like I wasn't being shown that I was important, that I was special, that I was a priority.
Yeah, but we're saying
would be an issue.
The setup was that we have that. So
okay.
What else is there?
So then the other thing would be if you started lying a lot and I felt like I couldn't trust you.
Oh, you gotta get more specific than lying a lot. What does that mean? Like, yeah, baby, I turned off the kitchen light.
Okay, well, but the fact is you don't do that now. So if you started
Seriously,
doing
we get
that...
a divorce because of that?
Not the one time, but like if you start lying to me in a bunch of things, big and small, I'm going to start wondering...
Addict.
what else you are lying about, and me not being able to trust you and not knowing if there's going to be things that are going to surprise me that you could have told me and you didn't. That would
So there wouldn't
be
have to be a last straw lie. Like, he doesn't have to tell, like, a really big lie. It would just be he won't stop lying.
Yeah, there would be a sum total where at some point it would be like, I feel like more often I can't trust you.
So you'd be keeping a tally
Yes.
of lies?
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding?
And then I'm going to get like little toothpicks and put them on the scale. And when the scale finally tips.
No. All right. God, you scared me. This is getting kind of psycho. All right. So after.
Once it got to a point where I, like, legitimately, if you were telling me things, I always had to be like, is that real or is that something else?
Would not matter the magnitude of the lie.
I mean, if they were all super tiny and there was never ever a big one, then obviously that's going to be taken differently. But I'm envisioning...
Taken differently in the fact of, am I going to get divorced if I lie about the light being on in the kitchen?
Not one time.
Because I think I would... No, okay. I think that falls into the category is people are going to think you're out of your mind. If you go up to them and go, yeah, my husband lied 6,000 times. Trust me, I checked. I checked the scale about having the light in the kitchen on.
Yeah, it's not the external scale; it's the internal scale.
Oh,
At what point do I feel that's
so
fine? You're
silly
allowed to say that's silly. If I feel like you are not on my side anymore, and I cannot rely on you to be a constant, steady, reliable thing, then that is a problem for me.
But it's a kitchen light.
I need you to be my partner.
So if I had an addiction to lying, which exists, people have that addiction,
but you don't.
Wow. Excuse me, have we talked to a professional about it?
You don't.
Okay,
I've been with you for 9 years. You haven't been obsessively lying about things that don't matter.
I get it at the core. I absolutely get what you're saying because being truthful is such an important thing. And so if someone just has to... I don't know why someone would lie over and over about the kitchen light, but if someone felt the urge to do it, that obviously means that your relationship is a lot weaker than you thought. But I could not take you out of my life based on little white lies, even if they were all over the place. It would be really annoying. A big chunk of what I get out of this relationship. The big chunk of what I get out of this relationship is that if everything else falls apart, I can rely on. So if you're constantly lying to me about things, then I can't rely on you. If we go deeper into that, I'd say I can rely on it. And I'd say, okay, for what? And you start listing off the things, there'd all be major things that make a difference. Nowhere on that list is it going to be something like you turned off the kitchen light. I know I keep using that example, but nowhere on your list. If I asked you to make a list of 1,000 things you can rely on me for, nowhere on the list is something going to be on there that then constitutes being a problem if it's a little white lie. It's all going to be stuff that matters. But you don't think that the little white lies add up to creating a sense of distrust and not being sure then if I can rely on you for the big things because you've shown me that you're not reliable. That person's but in this scenario, the big thing doesn't happen. It isn't that the little thing's built up. But I don't know if it's going to because now I can't trust whether or not you're going to be there or not. So now divorce because you're paranoid, right? Okay. I mean, that's what you're saying. I mean, that's not what I'm saying, but you can twist my words to be that. I absolutely agree that it would be a problem, and it would be annoying. I think it extends beyond annoying, because if I can't rely on you, then I can't rely on you. And that is the fundamental for the big things. That is the fundamental thing that makes me feel that I am safe, is that I know that I can rely on you. I think we agree more than we think we agree. The problem is I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the fact of, in this scenario, and I'm putting a lot of emphasis. Excuse me. In this scenario, you know that they're only lying about the little white lies, and you're putting more emphasis on the little white lies represent something much bigger. We're just talking about sort of different ways of taking the scenario, yeah? I guess so. Are you upset? I mean, you were a little bit rude there when you just, totally cut me off. That's the whole 15 minutes thing. Okay. That's the whole point of the podcast. If I can't cut you off to make sure I get my 15 minutes in, and we just sit around and we time out. I mean, we can time it out to where it's 1 minute increments each, if that'll help. Nope, it's okay. Okay. All right. Besides right now, what's the most worried you've ever been about our marriage ending? Because right now, it's about
I
to
don't
be
know
over.
that since we've been married that has been a concern of mine.
You've never thought we were married?
I would
that
say
we
when we were
gonna-
dating, I had concerns
What?
because it was less
When?
permanent. There was one time early on where you got incredibly upset, and I don't even remember what we were upset, what had happened, and why you were so upset. But like for a whole day, you wouldn't talk to me at all.
I know what
And
I was really upset about. It's a pretty big deal.
I don't remember.
We'll never know. We'll never know. She just gave me a big smile. I know she sounds mad at me, but I think she still loves me. Maybe?
I do still love you.
Okay. All right, whenever you would like to do your 15 minutes.
All right, mine has started. So as we pointed out, you have not been married before.
How do you know?
I guess I don't. You could be lying to me.
That would be a big lie. That does not fall into the little white lie.
I mean, you said 100% of the things you say on this podcast are lies.
We're going back to that joke. Gotcha.
Okay, so what did you think would be a deal breaker? Like before you met me, before we even thought about getting married and you thought about your life and what it would be like, what did you think
Before I even met you?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you think would be a deal breaker?
Well, I'm trying to decide if while being a Christian or not.
You can
being
give
a Christian.
two answers.
I'll give the
fine
not
with
being
you.
a Christian one because I don't think you ever knew me when I cared about that. Being cheated on. Not being able to live in the sense, like if one person had to work out of town most of the time, where they're gone for like months and months at a time, like pro athletes and stuff like that. I wouldn't do it. Didn't want to have kids. Wouldn't do it. Wanting to move out of state at all, I wouldn't do it for a little bit. These are different things I thought at different times. That one I didn't think about a lot. Yeah, wasn't a Christian was one of them. Was a Christian was one of them. And then there's the different levels of what I would consider cheating at different points. That what would have made me mad enough to get a divorce over. Parents not liking them, I would have kept me from marrying them. So stuff like that.
Okay,
Those are all the ones that come to mind.
So I think it's a fair point. When you're with different people, you would have thought different things. If I were to marry them, what would be the deal breakers? So how has that opinion changed now that you have been married and you've been married for a while?
I'm trying to think if any of those things would still be on the list. No, all those things would not be on the list anymore.
Okay, so what would be on the list?
What would be on the list of deal breakers? It would be, God, I've been thinking about it because it's hard. Do I have to fit the criteria of it can't be anything insane? Because that makes it a lot harder.
Whatever criteria you want.
See, now you're being overly nice to try to make me look worse about
I'm really not.
If you're telling me I can fit whatever criteria I want,
I'm just interested
and then
to
in
hear
the
what
question
the answer
before
is.
that, you said you can answer it in whatever way you want. You're basically trying to gift me your own 15
I'm
minutes.
not.
And letting me reword the questions to make me feel bad about my 15
I
minutes
mean, if
before.
you feel bad,
These
that's
are
on you.
Games!
I
games!
appreciate you think that I'm not like manipulative, but no.
Ooh, she's playing games. Y'all heard it today. The deal breakers now would be, realistically speaking, if you stopped being a parent, like if you decided that you were going to stop being part of the kids' lives, and there are parents who are in the house, but they're not parents. But if you became where you wanted to go to work and then wanted to come home and try to come up with any excuse you could to go and do one of your hobbies and then come home late enough, have a couple drinks, be able to go to sleep, wake up, do it all again. But since you're the breadwinner, you could be like, hey, I'm taking care of you. It's a lot. I mean, a lot of people have seen it happen. And you, even if during your time you were giving me all the attention in the world and you were fucking my brains out, if you decided that you were done acting like a parent, I would not want to be married to you anymore.
Okay, I think that's fair.
And I'm trying not to go to the extremes of like, yeah, if you started using drugs around the kids and stuff like that. If you fell in love with someone else and had an affair for a while, like I've tried to decide what would be the extreme. If you cheated on me, that's okay. We'd work through that. If you had feelings for someone else, we'd work through that. I mean, those are things that you can work through. But if you fell out of love with me and had fallen in love with someone else and had been banging them for a while and had been lying to me about it, that would probably be enough.
Okay.
Because that's a combination of all of it. You don't love me anymore. That really sucks. You're in love with someone else, so now you got to fall out of love with them. The sexual surprise of it all and the lying of it all that combined, that would definitely do it.
Yeah, and that's pretty catastrophic. I would be hard. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a person who would not agree that is a.
I mean, I know people that it's happened to and they have not gotten divorces from it. Like, if it's just one, like if you tell me, hey, I'm starting to fall out of love with you, I mean, I think most of the time people can't help that, and they just realize that one day you and I would figure it out. You'd fall back in love with me. I'd flex my big old ab muscle. If you're like, hey,
just the one ab muscle.
I truly believe that you can be in love with more than one person. I don't know. Yeah? Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of you can only fall in love with one person, I think is kind of silly. So if you said, hey, I'm in love with you, I feel all this great stuff about you, but I'm also getting feelings for this other person, I'm not going to divorce you because of that, because I think that happens all the time. Thank you for coming and telling me. If you were fucking somebody, I mean, that would suck, but, I mean, people fuck other people all the time. But yeah, if it's just a big combination of it all, yeah, that would.
Because I think at that point too, it makes it feel like you let it get too far gone. Mm-hmm. You know, like something should have been identified. I should have come forward about one of those things at some
that's
point.
just the perfect. And if I found out about it without you telling me, that would make it 100 times worse.
Yeah.
Because then you just you'll never not think that they were never going to tell you that was just going to be it forever, and then they would have continued.
So despite the fact that we've argued over the semantics, at the core of both of our things is really the trust.
That's what I was saying. I feel like we're saying the same thing. The issue is I'm getting stuck on the white lie part. You're focusing on the lie part. That's what I was saying. Yes, the trust is the big thing. So.
All right. Well, see, then we're not too far off the page of each other.
That's what I've been saying for the last 20
minutes. That is not true.
You could listen back to it.
For the last 20 minutes.
I don't think there's anything else that currently would be a deal breaker, that realistically speaking. No. It would suck so bad, and it would be hard to want to stay married to you if you were gone for work a ton of time. But I also think then you have to ask yourself, okay, why is that going to be so hard? Like, when you come back and we get to spend time with each other, you still have that personality that I fell in love with, right?
I think so.
You're still you. Yes, our moments are so much smaller, but, I mean, if that happened, I would probably ask for an open relationship. You were like, hey, I'm going to be gone all this time. I'd be like, yo, well, I'm going to want to have sex with somebody. You're going to want to have sex with somebody. That's one of those where I wouldn't be like, hey, let's get a divorce. I'd be like, well, can we have sex with other people? And then if you said no, I'd be annoyed.
You'd be annoyed, or you'd divorce me?
I wouldn't divorce you.
Okay, because we're talking about deal breakers.
Again, I mean, if I really need to, I'll just lie about it.
Wow.
What have we learned today, kids?
All right. So are these deal breakers
The Travis Tritt paradox. What?
Are these deal breakers specific to me, or do you think that they would be true for anyone you were married to?
The traveling out of town one is specific to you because when we were first married, those first couple of years, you did it a lot, and that sort of put I never even thought about it being a thing. I never thought ever until you that I'm going to marry a woman who makes way more money than me, and I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad, and she's going to travel a lot for work. Never crossed my mind. That one's specific to you. And I would like to think that if I married someone else, I would end up liking them enough as much as I like you. I like to think that I would like them as much as I like you, and that I would grow more and more out of my religious roots, that the other one I would be like, yeah, it would take a perfect storm of an affair for me to want a divorce.
Okay,
so 50-50.
Okay. All right. Have there been any relationships that you did end in the past because of a deal breaker?
Not only have there not been. Well, I guess there has been, and there's only been one. Well, the problem... let me just answer the question. I have been broken up with every single relationship. If we're talking about dating, every single time I was broken up with. But every single time within that month, because it was always one of the breakups was like, yeah, I want to break up, but I still want to be friends, still want to try this again later. And within a month, with every single girl that broke up with me, she had asked me back out. Like a serious, yeah, I want to be boyfriend and girlfriend again. And with every single one of them, I got to say no. So, I guess the deal breaker is that you're not supposed to break up with me. Because I then broke off the potential.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
you wouldn't take them back, so.
Yeah, there have been girls that I haven't asked for a second date on, but girls that are actually boyfriend, girlfriend. Because I think the labels of relationships, especially in the boyfriend, girlfriend stage, are actually extremely important. And to be all like, yeah, we don't like labels, but we're boyfriend and girlfriend is fucking stupid. So,
That's a bold statement.
it is stupid. It's stupid. The labels exist for a reason. There's boyfriend, there's girlfriend, there's fiancés. You're engaged and you're married. The labels matter. That's why they are labels, because they go on things. They get stuck until something peels them off. So yes, the deal breakers don't break up with me. So if you broke up with me, we got a divorce, and then you wanted to get back with me, I'd say, hell no.
Would you still?
Yes. If you asked me for a divorce and then you, after we got a divorce, wanted to bring me back, I would be done. I'd be like, you can still hook up.
But no boyfriend, girlfriend.
But no boyfriend, girlfriend. Because if we break up, I'm moving on, like, quick.
Wow, you've got it all planned out.
I mean, it's not going to be healthy, but it's going to be quick.
Okay.
I have never gotten to just have sex with all the men and the women in the world. And I'm just going to do that and stop taking care.
And whose fault is that?
And I'm not going to take care of my diabetes anymore. And I'm just going to have sex with people until
it's not going to last very long.
It's not. For like 2 weeks, and then I'm going to die.
No, that's optimistic.
Wait,
if you're legit not taking care of your diabetes, I think 2 weeks is incredibly optimistic.
Well, my blood sugar's going to go up really high, but then it's going to come back down from all the sex I'm having.
And then you're going to pass out, and you're going to die.
Well, when I pass out, they're going to be having sex with me. I'm going to still be having sex when I'm passed out. I'm going to get a tattoo that says, I consent to sex while unconscious.
I mean, but you can't.
Wait, why can't I?
Well, how is your... Never mind. Okay.
She knows that I can't.
No, you can't. Do you have any deal breakers, although you didn't have a ton, that you think you could be talked out of?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So tell me how to talk you out of it.
What do you mean tell you how to talk you out of it?
I mean, if it were to happen, you're going to tell me what the secret code is.
I couldn't be talked out of the parent one because we're saying you talk me out of it, but that means I decide that the deal breaker is excusable. So in the parent one, you'd have to convince me that you shouldn't have to be a good parent. No, that wouldn't happen. But with the other one, with a good enough apology, and I bought it, yeah, I could be talked out of it. I don't think you have that kind of an apology in you.
What is that supposed to mean?
Because you're a professional, serious woman. I'm talking like the kind of apology that comes from the God pretending to exist kind of soul that humans don't actually have. That kind of an apology.
I don't think I know what you're talking about. This may be because I didn't go to church.
I mean, I think if I've seen you sad enough times to know that I think I would know if you actually felt real regret. It's just hard to imagine someone that would do all that and actually feel real regret, except for just being embarrassed to be caught. So if I could really tell a difference in an apology, yeah, I definitely could be talked out of that one.
Okay, well,
I think that's very rare, but I think if under the right circumstances, yeah, and I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure people have been cheated on with long affairs before, and they're still together. I know people who have, so.
No, I think that's fair. Those were all the things I had, and I still have more time.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of other things to say now. So, I can just hear the noises of you drinking in the background. You look like that Kermit the Frog meme.
My ice in the cup.
You didn't even let it last long enough to melt your ice.
I can ask questions if you need help.
No.
But they're about stuff that you were talking about. So
okay,
it's just,
fine.
What do you not agree that girlfriend and boyfriend labels matter? Like, how can you date in secret? What is the point of that? Is dating in secret makes no sense.
The dating in secret isn't the part that's bad to me. We already said that a deal breaker for me is communication. And so if I don't know what page you're on, to your point, that makes it, I don't feel like we've talked well enough with each other. We don't know where we stand with each other. We don't know what we mean to each other. We don't know what the limits are.
That's a great point. That wasn't even one I was thinking of. That is a great point. And I think the argument you're going to hear is, oh, we do know what page we're on. We're not dating. Not dating is a fucking label, too. It's just a dumb, lazy one.
No, I think that, but I mean, I think that's my point. If your label is we're not dating or we're just friends or, you know, whatever, that's fine as long as everybody understands what that means. As long as the two of you in the relationship or the five, however many people are in the relationship, as long as the people in the relationship understand what that means, I am totally fine with that.
But a lot of times it doesn't mean, like, I hate words that have definitions and they mean something. And, damn it, you know. You had a good 15 minutes. I'll tell you what. I was into your 15 minutes. Well, more than mine.
Well, because you get to talk about yourself and the things that you're thinking in that little noggin of yours.
Yeah, and you were a lot nicer in that 15 minutes.
I was nicer?
Yeah.
All I was doing in your 15 minutes was answering your questions.
All right, so let's take a look at next week's schedule. Because I believe we have somewhat of an issue. Let me check this fudger out. Talk, entertain.
What's the issue? Are we going to have things not time out for the right weeks?
Well, we changed to putting out every week.
Remember? So election's not going to work out.
The election episode will be a little earlier, which is okay. Because next week would be the 20th. This week is the 21st. So next week is the 28th. And then that would mean we'd have to do the election episode on the 28th rather than...
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Wait, election day is November 3rd.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's always a Tuesday.
Yeah, we need to do it then.
Oh, well, then there you go.
Currently we have it for the day after the election, which makes a lot less sense.
It's true.
What are you excited to talk about?
When it comes to the election?
Well, it's just called Vote This Way. It's just us talking about voting.
Oh.
So we can talk about whatever we want. I'm going to make you talk very in depth about who you're voting for. But for your 15 minutes,
why are you looking at me with these eyes that are like you have some twisted game you're trying to play and you feel like you're going to get away with something?
I'm so excited. So excited to hear you talk about. Because I know you don't want to vote for either of them.
Oh, that's true.
No, and I'm so excited to hear you talk about having to force that apple piece down your throat because you hate apples.
I was going to say, I'm not sure anyone gets this analogy.
Oh, I get it. I explained it.
You did.
You hate apples.
I do.
You're like, get a little Joe Biden apple, and he's looking at you like, put me down your throat, please.
I mean, at least he's like a fresh, crisp apple.
So...
They're both apples in this scenario.
They're both apples, but one is a fresh, crisp apple.
And one is like a rotten, soggy, nasty, squishy.
God, fucking Donald Trump, the nasty, soggy, squishy apple.
There you go. That's it. We've got nothing to talk about next week.
Oh, I do. I have plenty to talk about. We're gonna talk about why. Is it as simple as vote for the lesser of two evils, or is it deeper than that? We will both do the isidewith.com quiz, and we'll give our results of who we are told to vote for based on the most in-depth quiz of them all in order to see who you should vote for.
Which I think is a brilliant tool, by the way.
It is fantastic. They base who you match up with based on actual quotes by the people and stuff put out by the people, not like, according to Colorado Times, Donald Trump once saved 12 cats.
Do they talk like that in Colorado?
We're from... Oh, they shiver too. Save 12 cats.
Sounds more like Kentucky or maybe like West Virginia.
We will talk about the ways that Donald Trump's not as bad as our most liberal friends think. And we'll talk about why Kamala Harris is so hot.
We will?
I will. That's my 15 minutes. It's just going to be saying, damn, girl. Ooh, shawty. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm good.
Love you guys.
Bye.